And we're on. So good morning, afternoon, evening.
Yeah.
For Sam.
Have we got the full three? Because I'm definitely good evening.
I'm just
okay.
Early afternoon. Your afternoon.
Yep.
Amanda. And if anybody joining us from the West Coast is going to still be morning. So we've got like the whole.
We've got, yeah.
Good afternoon.
All three going.
The whole thing. I am so incredibly excited for today's live. This is a little bit outside of some of the other topics that we've been doing for our LinkedIn Lives. I'm just excited we're here. Okay, so I'm Carissa Peck. My pronouns are she and her. I am the Executive Director and CEO here at Inclusive Agile. Inclusive Agile is a consulting company. We teach other companies how to incorporate inclusion into Agile practices for better overall outcomes in their individual work. So not just tech companies, but we also teach business agility as well. Okay, today's topic, we are going to be talking about journaling. Specifically, we'll hit on for professional and for personal use. These two ladies here, Amanda and Sam. I'm going to tell you the story of how I met Sam and Amanda. It's pretty short. We're driving home in April from a tech conference, and Dee's watching me write in my bullet journal. So I do bullet journaling, planner and journal combined. One of our other founders is watching me write, and they're like, "Hey, you should maybe we could use this. Maybe we could coach people on to do what you do there." And I'm like, no. No. I love doing this, but I do not want to coach other people to do this. Open LinkedIn. Google's been listening to me. Open LinkedIn, and what do you know? Amanda Stern, right in the top of my list of like random people in my feed now. Oh, look, and there's Sam, random in my feed. I don't even know how. But as soon as Dee put that in the universe, both of y'all just showed up in my feed. So
that was pretty quick.
Yeah, right. It was like that same day almost. So we've been chit-chatting back and forth. I love what they do with their, I'm going to let each of them introduce themselves, talk about what they do in their individual practices, and we will go from there. So Sam, do you want to take it away?
Oh, I was going to say Amanda being an A, but yeah, we'll go backwards. My name's Sam Kane. So I have the name Purple Reset, which was basically my way of writing online about 2.5 years ago without anyone knowing it was me, because I was a little bit shy and I wanted to do some writing and doing the online digital thing. It was COVID, we had time, but I was just too shy. So I come up with Purple Reset and just quickly, purple, absolute favorite color, has been forever, love it. And reset, well, it's a better term than saying I failed or give up. For me, a reset is, okay, that's not working for me, so I'm going to try it a different way. I'm going to tweak it. I'm going to speak to some other people, and I just think reset, it's something I do every Sunday through journaling, and obviously throughout the quarters and the year. So that's how my kind of name all come together. And then a year ago, after all that online writing and exploring and chatting and meeting people like Amanda, I was predominantly on Twitter. I decided to design some notebooks and journals because plain lines and blank pages don't suit my brain. And I've recently found out why. I need different ways of using a paper physical journal. So instead of drawing and sectioning my pages up, I dived into YouTube, found out how to do it, and then just kind of ran with it. I started with one journal idea, and I've just recently released the 24th. So, yeah.
Those are all in the last year, Sam?
Yeah. Just over a year now. So it was April the 26th. Completely missed that milestone, that anniversary this year. Completely bypassed me. So yeah, it's been just over a year. Yeah.
Fantastic. I didn't realize it was that recent. There's a ton. So we've got a QR code and link up here to go and see. I'm assuming that link tree, I didn't open it. Does the link tree have the Amazon store in it?
It's got everything. So if you're looking for the journals, it'll take you to the Amazon storefront. And then if you're looking at the website or other socials, I've got everything in there. It's like a one-stop shop to find what you need.
All right, Sam, before we move on to Amanda, I have two questions for you as part of your intro. Tell me just something good. What's going on good in your life right now? And actually, let's just go to that. Tell me one good thing that's going on your life right now outside of journaling, and we'll save the
So if you are following me on LinkedIn, you will know I'm selling my house, and I finally, after we listed the house a couple of weeks ago, we've got 2 viewings. So I'm going through the torturous situation of wanting to sell the house, get an offer, but not wanting anyone in my house. So I've not emotionally detached myself from this house quite yet. So, I mean, linking it back to journaling, because hey, maybe that's something I need to work on a little bit. So, yeah, it's fun and maybe not so fun. There's a lot of work when you're trying to.
Yes, and you're selling, and you've picked a new place?
I have picked a new place and I love it. And I'm trying not to get too excited, because in life things cannot work out, but it's in a tiny little village. I'm going for the quiet life.
You have the
Quiet life.
ability to not get too excited about these things.
I know, it's that I want it to happen and I want all the positivity around it, but I'm also an adult and I know what it's like to get your hopes raised for, something to happen, to come in and crush it. But the overall goal is for us to kind of move back to my homeland, Wales. We've got stunning beaches, we've got stunning mountains, and I just want more nature. So that's what I'm kind of heading towards. I did not know that at the beginning of this year, but it's become this year's goal.
I love it. Okay, Amanda, your turn. Tell us all about how you've come to your practice, specifically what you do, and also make sure you throw in something fun and interesting that's outside of journaling.
Yeah. So my story, I always pick up as an angsty teenager, because that's when I found journaling. I found journaling one day. I was having a really hard day. None of my friends could come to the phone. So I found a notebook and a mechanical pencil and I started to write. And that was the first time I really connected writing with how I felt. And I felt lighter. I felt better. And I thought, there is something here. So I picked up my pen the next night and again the next. And before I knew it, I built this beautiful journaling practice, which helped me to really reflect and take ownership of the life that I was living. And I journaled religiously, I would say, every night for years and years. And then I got married. And then I had some kids. And then I did not journal very much. And I had all of the excuses. I was busy. I was tired. I really thought I would remember the cute and wonderful things my children did. And I don't. I only remember the things I wrote down. So I always say it's my one regret in life is that I didn't journal enough, because not only did I miss capturing all of those beautiful stories and things that they did, I missed out on a whole lot of years of getting to know myself and who I was and what I wanted and what was important to me. So I really came back to journaling with full fidelity about 9 years ago. My husband came home one day and dropped the bomb that he had decided he would be happier not being married to me. And I thought, oh, well, that's unexpected, right? And I knew I had a choice to make. I could either allow myself to spiral into negativity, or I could reach out and grab hold of every good thing that came my way. And that's what I did. And it started with my journal. It started with making myself write what I was grateful for. And it was really hard because I did not feel grateful for very much in that moment. But I came up with 8 things. And I thought, if I can be grateful for 8 things on the hardest day of my life, I'm going to be okay. So I used my journal to really write my way back to myself, to rediscover who I was and what I wanted, how I got so lost, and how I was going to get back on track. So my journaling really took a flavor of intentionality, and I've really used it to springboard into growth by leaps and bounds, by setting goals, holding myself accountable for increasing my focus and productivity, for just really celebrating who I am and what makes me special, and the small things that I take for granted every day. So really helping other people to discover the magic of journaling, to discover that good things come to those who journal, and we all deserve it. Just is the greatest joy. And I love that there are so many wonderful, beautiful ways of journaling, and there's a way for each of us, multiple ways for each of us, to really craft a practice that feels really good, that helps us in the ways we want to be held. And it's a pleasure and a joy to be here, and it's a pleasure and a joy to get to do this work. And as far as good things, I will tell you, I am here in Connecticut, and I still have flowers blooming in my garden. I just picked a bouquet of zinnias today to take to a friend of mine for lunch, and I'm so excited to still have not just flowers, but pollinators still visiting my garden. So it makes me feel like fall, even though we're here, is not, it's not totally here.
So fall's not your favorite season then, huh? Because I've been waiting.
I like lots about the fall. I love the leaves in the fall, but this is not a great foliage year. This past weekend is usually peak season, and it's not going to be great this year. It's the dark that gets me every time. The days getting shorter, everything getting darker. It's harder to wake up when it's dark outside, but I really am loving that this is October and my chance to slow down. I call it Slowtober, where I intentionally do less and slow down. Last year, I was so busy, I forgot completely to celebrate Slowtober until someone reminded me halfway through. But this year, I'm like nailing it, and I'm so pleased.
Fantastic. Okay, so for today's discussion, I want to start out with, okay, well, first off, we've got to read the comment in the chat here. Full disclosure, this is my offspring. This is Sydney is my oldest, and they love the baby journal. I was just thinking the same thing though, Sid, when Amanda was talking, that I wish I'd written down so many more things. I wrote down a few, not enough, but I'm glad at least Sid has gotten something out of that. So yay.
See, that makes me really happy, because I'm writing to my granddaughter. She's like a year and a half. So every 4 to 6 weeks, I sit down and I'm writing just kind of, stuff that's going on, things that I'm going to forget by the time she's like 18. I'll probably remember that we moved, but everything else that's, she's just gone on a holiday, I'm just writing these things out. And you kind of go, one, are they going to teach her how to read my handwriting?
This is Artemis, by the way. I lock her away, so she's going to say hi a few times. So
we love dogs. We love dogs. Yeah. And one of the biggest things now for me is when she grows up, when she goes through school, if things are on the same trajectory that they're on right now, where my nephews are doing more typing than writing, and then I spoke to someone else who had to teach their kids to read cursive handwriting, I'm like, I need to teach her. I'm going to have to teach her so that she can read my letters to her when she's like 18. So yeah, Sydney, thank you so much for sharing that, because I'm going to crack on and just teach her how to read my writing.
Yeah. Oh, okay. So to get into our topics today, I'm going to ask you 2 questions, ask you to both respond to it. I'm going to turn my camera off and go take my dog in the other room while you guys respond to the first question. I'll be right back. But what I want you both to respond to first is, why should busy professionals journal? Why is it important? And about your professional life specifically, like how can it help in a professional context to be doing journaling? And we'll start with Amanda this time.
Okay. So I think the first important reason why people should journal is that we are whole people, that we don't go to work as just our work selves. We bring with us the entirety of who we are. We bring all of our experience, all of our feelings, all of who we are to the office or to the meeting or to wherever we happen to be. And it's a lot. Life is a lot. We're a lot sometimes. And having a way to really understand ourselves, to be able to get clarity on what we are feeling, on the energy we're bringing into spaces is really important. I think we all know what it's like to go to the office and meet that one person who proclaims to be self-aware and has no idea how they are just wildly flinging their energy around in haphazard and irresponsible ways, right? So understanding who we are, how we are feeling, what we need so that we can go and be our best selves in those situations, however we're feeling, is super, super important. Because again, we don't come just as a small portion of who we are. We bring our full selves.
Yeah, and I think actually that's probably increased as well since COVID, where the two kind of collided, the home life and the work life. I was one of those people that kind of got sent home to work. That's become the norm. And I think over the last couple of years, absolutely, I'm more in tune with my work. Now it's combined with my life. So journaling around everything that's going on in the day, because my work's happening in my home, it was important for me to kind of separate those two things out. I've got things going on in life, but at the same time, I needed to keep an eye on what was going on at work, and be more intentional about that. I think for me, when it comes to when we grow up and we get into jobs, it's very easy to sit and type and take notes, and everything has become very digital. For me, the important thing when we're professionals in a workplace, we're still learning. We should be learning until the day we die. That's my philosophy. And for me, the best way to learn, to remember things, for things to really embed, is when you pick up a pen. And I think this is like when we come on to the differences between myself and you, Amanda, is I'm heavy on the pen and paper method. So yeah, when it comes to the studies and the kind of all the efforts that the professors are putting in to look at handwriting and the link, and especially when it comes to learning, development, memory, kind of, we've got dementia later on in life. It's proven that sitting down, writing helps with all that. And then you bring in, when you journal, you build up emotional intelligence easy. When you're writing it down and you see it in black and white, how you might have reacted to a situation or how someone else has reacted, and you journal around your professional day, whether it's what you've learned, some new things, or behaviors, identifying areas that you want to improve. It might be communication. I found all these things come out when you sit down and write, because there's something about picking up the pen, sitting down and going, right, I'm just going to spend 10 minutes on myself and on my work day. How can I deal with these things? How can I understand what other people are doing? Maybe how I'm reacting. So when you journal, you've got the chance to build up so much, from learning and developing on the job right through to communication, emotional intelligence, socializing, and acceptance. So yeah.
Yeah. And there's a piece too, a huge piece in reflecting, because it's so easy for us to just get in work mode and do and do and do and move through our checklist without taking that time to be really intentional about what we're doing. So when we can take the time to be reflective, it allows us to assess how things are really going. So when so when somebody says, "Oh, well, how's that project?" Right? It's not, "Oh, my wheels are turning and I'm scrambling to try to figure out what to tell you about it." That as we reflect, we can keep really a running tally of where we are. Like, I love using my journal to really track and celebrate my progress, because so many of us set goals here and we're happy to celebrate when we've surpassed those goals. But there's so much room from where we start to that big goal. And if I don't, speaking personally, if I don't celebrate those baby steps, those little milestones along the way, I'm never going to be able to celebrate when I get to that big goal, because I'll never feel like I'll get there. But really tracking my progress, seeing those wins add up on the page, just is so important to give us momentum, to really help us have a good sense of what we're accomplishing.
Mm. See, it's funny because when I talk to clients about journal, I always say it's not a quick fix. This is an ongoing kind of practice. It will compound over time. And it's funny because when you celebrate the wins during the course of wherever it is that you're doing, that feels good. But in the moment, you kind of feel like you're not getting anywhere. And that's when I say, right, get a review, kind of half an hour. So whether that's like at the end of the month or at the end of the week, depending on how busy you are, take a look. Because actually, in the moment, you don't feel like you're going anywhere until you sit and then read. And then if you go back even further, you've got a huge amount of progress. But yeah, day to day, you can very much feel like you're on a hamster wheel. You're not going anywhere. And it's like, well, why am I chasing this goal? Right, go back to the beginning. And then you go through and it's like, actually, I've made how much progress? I couldn't even do this a year ago. So
And what makes that even more powerful is it's written in our own hand. So it's
yeah.
our own record. You can't deny what you've written by yourself in your own handwriting. It just stares right back at us like, "Oh, I really am this wonderful. Oh, I really have done these great things. Oh, I really have learned and grown so much."
Yeah.
I love that. And kind of on that topic, if somebody is kind of new to journaling and all they have in their head is the idea that, it's a lock and key, which is funny because my current journal actually has the lock on the outside. I just realized that, like, it's the secret, like, journal of a 15-year-old. Like, and I'm just writing my thoughts and my, dreams. But there's tons of different forms that a journal could take. Maybe each of you could talk about a couple of different other formats rather than just the long form. I'm just talking about my day journaling that people could do, especially in a professional setting.
Cool.
Want to take that one, Sam?
Should I go first? So yeah, so one of the ways that I like to journal whilst at work, which is completely different to when I reflect journal or when I set my day up. And this comes into play very much when I start a new job. So if I'm starting a new job, I'm taking on a huge amount of information. And I'll take one of two kind of routes to set this up. It might take the form of what I call a brain dump notebook. So like just a scrapbook that you keep on the desk. and you record events, thoughts, feelings, situations as you go through the day. And then at the end of the day, you do a review. And those can be literally bullet points, just kind of keywords that you want to go back. It could be something that someone has mentioned. The important thing is recording the information as you're going through and taking on this new information. And then what I would do, if I dumped it all into a kind of scrapbook, I will then extract, as part of my review, extract all the important information and then go and do something with that. So it could be just information. So things that I need to remember, so a process or somewhere to find some information or some key people, those will be categorized and stored. And then I'll have a whole host of things that, oh, someone mentioned that, and I don't know a lot about that subject. I want to go and research it. And there are no rules. So you can do this however you want. You use a key, you can use highlighters, and it doesn't have to be the running commentary. You want to use bullet lists, numbered lists, anything. The important thing is to get the information out of your head and onto the paper. And then the last part of things for me is doing something with that information, because it's all very well throwing your brain onto a page, and that's one part of the puzzle, but then what do you do with that? So yeah, the kind of ongoing journaling throughout the day, so there's no pressure. It's keywords, it's lists, it's just information that you need to keep or remember or refer back to. And then I have a journal that I kind of keep for new jobs and all the kind of key information. So I would use a digital tool for that as well. So I would have a dual situation going on, which sounds inefficient, but the online tool is there because it's robust. It's usually cloud-based. You're going to be able to retrieve that. The writing for me is it's almost like committing it to memory. If I've wrote it down, it's because it's important. Mm-hmm. There is a far higher chance if I write it down, it will stay in my brain in some weird little box somewhere that I can pull out or grab my notebook. So yeah, and when I'm not in a new job, so everything's kind of a little bit stable, I'll just have my work notebook and I will just take the notes as I go through the day, especially around communication, or if there's been feedback, pick up on those things. And then that journal will focus on kind of progression rather than consumption of information and learning.
So before we move on to Amanda, I wanted to point out two things that you said there that I thought were really important. The first one is the no pressure. I'm just getting it out of my head and on paper, out of my head and on paper, out of my head and on paper. Like taking that idea of when I do bullet journaling, right? And I think one of the we're not going to get into like what that method is. It's just a methodology of doing journaling. But people get so caught up in a framework or in a methodology that you put a lot of pressure on, am I doing this right? So I love like both of your approaches to there's all these different ways we could do it, and remove that pressure of having anything specific, just do it, and then come back and reflect. That reflection stage, I think, is what most of us forget to do. The power of having it written down is because then you can take something out of it. You can turn it into something new that's going to be useful for your life. So thank you for both of those. Amanda.
Yeah. So my biggest suggestion really plays off yours, Sam, with a little more structure. And I think the official name for it is called interstitial journaling for folks who want to look
say that word.
I love it. And I don't do it often enough, but every time I do it, it helps me really zone in and be focused and productive. It is a method of journaling where you journal throughout your day, but you do it whenever you finish a task. So when you finish a task, you jot the time, you write what you just finished, you reflect on how it went, and then identify what's next. And I love that because that gives my brain a chance to wrap up what I did, to pat myself on the back if that's what's needed, to assess, oh, this didn't go well. Well, why? Right? That reflection piece. And then to figure out what's next to really springboard myself into that next thing. And I love, Sam, what you said about just writing things in your journal isn't enough. You want to do something with what you've written. And I think that's such a critical element that so many people have a really narrow view of what journaling is, right? And lots of people journal because they hear it's important and they feel like they should, because we're all here telling you should, but we're not telling you how necessarily. And so many people, I think, get frustrated because they try something and it just doesn't resonate. So they say things like, oh, well, journaling's dumb. Journaling doesn't work. Or the worst one is journaling doesn't work for me, so therefore there must be something wrong with me. So I always like to start, and Sam, I think you do too, to start with the end in mind. What do you want your journaling to help you accomplish? And then reverse engineer it to make it happen. So really, why do you want to journal? Do you want to journal at work so you can be more focused and productive? Do you want to journal so you can have better develop your managerial skills? Do you want to journal so that you can have better relationships with your colleagues, right? Each of those is going to give you a different focus in how you journal. And I think it's really important for us to align our actions with our expectations, because when we expect our journaling will do this magic thing and we're journaling on a path that'll never get us there, right? That's where frustration comes in. That's when people are really quick to give up on journaling or think of it as just something to do to check off the box instead of a tool that can really springboard our lives, our professional lives and our personal lives forward in beautiful ways.
Love that. And I need to give a thank you to Amanda, because you taught me interstitial journaling at some point in the last 6 months, right? In our talking. And for me, I've used that almost entirely as a productivity thing and as a focus thing. Get my ADHD brain focused. I've got one thing on the list. I've written it down. I've given myself a time box for it because that's how I wind up using it. And then at the end, I write, how did my time management go? That's the way I've been using that, like the reflections phase on that. Did the amount of time I give myself actually meet the task? Did I put too many things on the task? What distracted me? What pulled me away from it? So using interstitial journaling that way has been amazing for me for focus. Help me like focus on the individual tasks, because I'm just like squirrel all day long if I'm not writing down and keeping very close track of what it is I'm going to be doing.
And
See, yeah. Oh, sorry. I was just going to say that I can't say that word.
Squirrel or interstitial?
No. Yeah. I can't say it. I can't wrap my tongue around it. But what struck me with what you were saying, Carissa, was the questions that come from it. Yeah. And this is where journaling is so unique to each and every person, that me and Amanda could write about a similar thing, but the questions we ask ourselves will be completely different depending on our approach. So you're concerned around, or you're looking at, is my time management correct? Which is great. And not many people say, right, I done that task. I thought it would take 30 minutes, but did it? You know? But these are all the things that it could take you 30 minutes to do it. It could take me 45.
Yep.
To do the same task. Now, me, when it comes to how I then plan my time, there's no point in going, hey, so how long did it take you to do that task? Because we're all different and we have different distractions, different things going on in life. And those questions, the answers will change on a day-to-day basis as well. So you could write, you know, that you were highly distracted today, and then tomorrow you fly through the day with not much difference. It might just be something as simple as, oh, actually, I got a full 8 hours sleep last night rather than 6. And it could be just something as simple as that then you go, well, that's what works for me. Let's try this again. And that's where journaling is special, is because it's so unique, so intimate for you that you get to ask yourself questions. You just got to be brave enough to sometimes ask the really hard, horrible ones, or answer them honestly and go, no, I was a lazy so-and-so today. And that's just, I was just lazy.
Yeah. And it's that honesty piece that's so essential, because if we can't be honest in our journals, they're not going to be helpful to us.
Yeah.
And that's a hard thing with journals, right? Because my whole life, ever since I was a wee child, I'm writing a journal. I'm like, someone else is going to pick this up and read it. So what suggestions would you have for people to help them get over like I'm writing for someone else versus I'm writing for myself in a journal?
Yeah, so I will start by saying I come from a place of privilege here. I started writing when I was an angsty teenager, and no one in my family cared. I always had all the privacy I needed. I joke all the time that I could leave my journal open on the kitchen counter and everyone in my family will walk right by. My children, because they can't imagine what I write is that interesting, and my husband, because he knows he'll hear it anyways. So I realize not everyone has that luxury. But I will say we all deserve to have a safe space, and we all deserve to have our journals be that safe place for us. And sometimes it's a matter of not making a big deal about things. You know, I know when I was a teenager, if I said, this is my journal, no one read my journal, then that's an open invitation to like, hey, go read my journal when I leave my room, right? Sometimes it's leave it out of sight. You know, if you're writing and you don't want your boss to see it, tuck it in your drawer. If you don't want your, partner to see it, maybe don't leave it on your dresser table in the nightstand. But figure out a safe place. If you really need to, lock it up. Type it. Even though handwriting is so beautiful and wonderful, there is magic and security in having a password protected document, right? But really being able to feel like this is a space. It's interesting. I taught a journaling workshop to a group of teenagers a bunch of months ago. And I asked them, like, who are you writing for? And the sweet girl in the front raises her hand nice and high. And she says, I'm writing for my future children. And I'm like, cool. How do you feel about that? And she's like, I think it's going to be so great. You know, we have journals from my grandparents that I love to read. That motivated her. And I said, okay, who here is scared to death of the idea of anyone else ever reading your journal and finding out that maybe you're lame or you're not as smart as you think you want everyone to think you are, and everybody else's hands, went at least up like this, right, with those chagrined faces. And I'm like, cool, you do not have to leave a legacy for anybody else. Your journal can just be for you. And if after you fill your pages, you want to toss it in the fire pit, cool, do it. Again, it all depends on your purpose for journaling in the first place. If you were journaling just to get all of those feelings out, right? That coworker brought fish and microwaved it in the office again, and she's so annoying, or whatever the situation is. If you just need a place to get it out, right? You don't need to keep that for posterity. You're always going to remember your coworker who microwaved the fish. Like, you don't need to keep that documented forever. You can just get it out and send it on its way.
I love that. Okay, we have about 20 minutes left at max.
Oh my God, that's gone quick.
Just like,
it's Amanda, you just chat.
It's me.
Yeah. I want to make sure that I give like good amount of time to this next topic though, which is, tell me about your practice. Tell me about what you do as a journaling coach and how people engage with you. And who wants to start there?
Yeah. Sam, you want to go?
Can do. Yeah. My approach, much like how Amanda's just talked through how everything it comes down to purpose. So I'll start with someone with the why. And where it goes from there is completely dependent on what that person needs. So I can work with someone who needs to find direction in a career. That's one, just one way that I can help people. There are people who require support in being asked questions because they want to get to the nitty-gritty core issues of what they're trying to work through. And they need someone there to ask the difficult questions, but in a safe way, because I'm not going to judge no one. I don't have the time. I don't have the inclination. We're all in this thing called life. We are trying to make our way through it in the nicest way that we can. And that's kind of my approach when I work with someone on a one-to-one basis. And I do prefer the one-to-one basis because it's very personal. It can become quite difficult, depending on the subjects that you're journaling about. But yeah, I enjoy working on one-to-one basis and just getting to that core reason and why someone wants to take to a journal. What are they looking to get out of it? Is it to support their mental health? That is a completely different route to helping someone who wants to change their career, or they want to start a side project and they don't know how it's all going to fit together. Journaling is a fantastic way to work all that stuff out. So yeah, it's a very personal, very bespoke. It is completely different for every single person I work with. So this is one of the most difficult parts of trying to explain to people the approach, how it all kind of goes. It is so unique. Everyone is different. Everyone has different requirements. So I come from a place of supporting that person to achieve what it is that they need to achieve. So, yeah.
Be sure to mention how, if somebody wanted to work with you, how would they do that?
Well, you got my link tree that can take you to all my socials. So you can feel free to DM my emails on there. I can take however someone wants to communicate. So DMs, emails. If you are just looking for a journal just to give it a go, then there's 24 to choose from. I do enjoy matching people with books. That's gotta be the nicest thing I didn't know was a thing. So I kind of made all these books, and then I was talking to people and they'd say, hey, I want to buy a book for my friend or my relative. This is what they like. And I would just ask 2 or 3 questions and I would come back and match them up. And I've got some really awesome feedback from those matches that it's like, oh, I'm a matchmaker. Didn't know I was going to do that. But yeah, I can. So if anyone's not sure what's going to suit what they need, then I can jump on a call and we can natter and find one.
Okay. All right, Amanda, take it away.
Yeah, so I love that you largely work with people one-on-one, because I do most of my work with groups. And I have found journaling in groups to be the best way to grow, and the best way to grow community. And so most of what I do has a group component, has a live social journaling component. And I tend to run groups that are focused on using journaling for self-discovery. I absolutely love the magic that happens when we do this work with other people. And it's funny because if you had told me 2 years ago I would be running journaling groups, I would have told you were crazy. I would have said something akin to, that's weird. I would never invite you over to bring your deck of cards to play solitaire at my table. And to me, journaling with other people was kind of like that. And then I did it. And I saw firsthand the magic that happens. So we start in the same place with the same prompt. I set my timer, and while the timer's running, we go on this adventure. And we just dive deep, and everyone gets to go on their own discovery journey. And when the timer goes off, we come back together and we are able to share where we've been and what we've experienced. And this is the magic I never expected, because as we're sharing, and no one is ever required to share, no one is ever expected to read what they wrote. But as people share and share things like, this prompt was hard for me because, or, oh, this thing came up for me that I didn't realize. Oh, I made this connection. I love to not just listen, but to watch the other people in the room as their eyes light up and you can see the light bulb go off above their head and pens start scribbling frantically as people are like, oh, what she just said, that's what I meant. That has been my experience too. So in this, we're learning and growing together. And yes, we can do this work on our own. And yes, we should. And also having a group, having a safe place to do this work together can be so hugely beneficial. It's like hiking a mountain, right? You can do it by yourself, but at some point you're going to get to that ravine right before the summit and you're not going to be able to cross, right? So to be able to turn around and say, I have this big stick, and someone else says, well, I have this big stick, and someone has a third stick, and someone has some rope, and you tie them together and you make this makeshift bridge, and all of a sudden you're at the top of the mountain together, just is the coolest thing. And what I did not expect was the friendships and the connections that would form, that people who come into these groups leave as friends, even if we are just together for an hour. It's amazing. So I run a membership program that is about to get rebranded with a better name. Right now, it is the Journaling for Growth membership program. This is a service where every month we journal our way to a different topic, really with a design of, what does this mean? How can I live a better life? Right. And so every month we have a new topic. This month it's money mindset. And we're going really deep on our money story and what that means and where we want to go and how we're going to get there. Next month, we're diving into gratitude. We're diving into a year-end reflection and goal setting process in December. And I'm so excited to really wrap up this year and be able to really help my clients and community really end this year with intention, because that's ultimately what journaling brings us. It brings us the good things of living our life with purpose, with intention, with mindfulness and presence, so we can really be there for ourselves. We can really be living the lives that we're here to live. So I work with people in all kinds of ways. Really, the group programs are my signature programs. I'm going to be launching in January, or running in January, the most exciting program I've ever done. It is an 8-week self-discovery journey, using journaling as the tool to integrate all of those different assessments so many of us are keen on, right? We take our Clifton strengths, we do our Enneagram, we discover, we have our human design chart read, right? And we get the results and we're so fired up with what they mean. And then we forget because we get distracted by the next shiny thing. So in this 8-week program, we're looking at all of those things. And every week there's a new tool and we look at how to integrate them all into what we already know about ourselves. So by the end of it, it's, oh yeah, here is who I am and here is why who I am. And this is the strength and goodness and really all the good stuff I bring into the world. So I'm so, so excited to launch that. So people can find out information about all of my programs linked on my website, goodthingscometotosewhojournal.com.
Love that. And you do a monthly mini retreat as well, right? We've got one coming up next week.
Yeah, I do. Next Wednesday, the 18th. Yes. It's an hour of self-care. You can gift yourself. It's totally free. I love it. These are just standalone sessions. So if you want a taste of what group journaling is like for yourself, definitely register and come. I believe there's a link on my website. If not, send me a DM and I will make sure you get that link.
Thank you. Thank you. I love that you guys have highlighted such different ways of thinking about journaling. Sam, the books that you've put together, the format to help give people prompts, and the individual one-on-one coaching versus kind of some of this group coaching and working through prompts that way. I don't think, even though I've journaled forever and ever, I don't think I would have come up with, hey, look, there's all these different ways to do this. I have no idea. No idea that people are out there in the world doing coaching in these different ways. So we keep saying we need to get together, right? Like we need to like show up at Amanda's house because I think it's maybe in the middle.
Is it then? Really?
Sort of, because she's on the East Coast. I'm closer to the West Coast and you're across the pond. So it's a little sort of.
At Amanda's then. Okay. No,
At
actually,
Amanda's then. Next week, everybody get on a plane. We'll just show up at Amanda. I don't know where you live. I'm just making this up.
I would tell you my address, Carissa. I would share it. I would host you. Come on over.
Okay, we are just about out of time. I did want to touch on, before we finish, like any of your favorite tools that you haven't talked about yet. We've hit on a little bit around the corners of some of the ways you guys like to do this, paper versus computers, whatever. But are there any specific software programs or specific kinds of writing instruments or books or things that you like to use for journaling as tools? And then we will wrap up. I don't know if we haven't had any questions specifically. Oh, we did get a comment though from Kat Shaw. Sam matched Kat with journals and it was awesome.
I did. That was a fun one. That took me over 24 hours to think about.
Oh, wow. That's fantastic.
Oh, yeah. This isn't a 2-minute thing. When I sit with people, sometimes I got to go away because it's not as easy as you might think.
Okay, awesome.
Okay. I might have to make a book for someone, I'm waiting for that one where I can't match and I got to make one.
So I don't use anything fancy. This is my journal. I've used some version of this for the last couple of years. It's a hardcover book. It lays flat. It has fairly smooth pages. The lines are thinly ruled. That's my jam when I journal. And right now I'm using a Sharpie S Gel fine point ink pen that I only use for my journaling. I don't use it for anything else. It's in black. But my other favorite tool is a do-it-yourself tool because I couldn't find a journal that I wanted and I needed some structure. So I created this one pager for myself. So I always say I don't create journals. I'm not interested in creating journals, but I do these things for myself and for clients. This is, I call it sometimes my intentionality dashboard because it's really what it is. It gives me my schedule for the day, my to-do list. My habit tracker is here. I haven't filled it out yet, but a place to record 5 conversations that I want to have. I track the phase of the moon and the weather. I give myself a place to remind myself of my theme for the year, my Ikigai verse that I created, my new moon intention. I put an affirmation here, usually, unless I pull like a tarot or an oracle card, which I often use in my journaling. And then I have some intention setting questions that really help me decide how I am going to show up and what I need so that I can be supported in all of that, which really started out because I couldn't find a guided journal that really gave me what I need. And I have this problem where once I close the pages of my journal, I forget what's in there until I open it again. So it lives on a clipboard, it lives above my desk. And so that way it's top of mind all day. So it's a little flavor that's similar to what Sam does, but I'm able to customize it to exactly what I need. That is my current favorite tool.
Love it. Take it away, Sam.
So, will it surprise anyone that I use a purple pen with purple ink? And that I use that every day. It's my go-to pen. So, and it will shock no one that I'm physical before digital. So at the moment I am running, I've got reflection, day to day, evening, especially after hectic days. That's where I go and kind of dump my day. Got to sketch out the journals, ideas. This is ideas, brainstorming, kind of a bit like skittish.
You show a page in there because that one's got boxes for drawing.
Yes. So this one is, I particularly like it because you can draw, but that's not a drawing. Sorry, I can't find it. So what I tend to do, I'll kind of freestyle and go wild on this page with just, whether it's a sketch or a flow diagram or just something I really need to get out my head, and then make sense of it on this side. So, and sometimes I will come up with a layout that I need to kind of visualize before I jump into an online tool. So they're my go-to physical journals. And then I've got one for the kind of action. So keeping on top of people I need to get back to, things more to-dos, tasks, reminders. So I've got a book for that. And then I will go online to create content. So I've got one journal that I just collect ideas. So it might be from a conversation, or there might be a post with loads of comments and some real good ideas in amongst all them. I've got another journal I'll pull all that out into. And then when I need to kind of sit and create some content, I'll do that in just a Word document or a Google Sheet document, and just transfer the important stuff then onto the kind of the digital tools. But I've pulled away from a lot of the digital tools. I was very heavy into Notion. I don't know if anyone's used Notion, but I got too caught up with designing. I got carried away with making it look really cool that I wasn't doing anything. And I found it difficult to write in Notion, like creating any content, because I'm dyslexic and my words are all wonky. And I need something with red squiggles for that one.
Okay, thank you. We are just about out of time, and my producer here is reminding me that I have neglected a thing that I was supposed to mention in each of our LinkedIn Live events here, that Inclusive Agile is a 501c3. We are a nonprofit, and our work is funded in part by donations and so if you would like to support the work of Inclusive Agile, there's a QR code on the screen there to donate. And I just want to say thanks to both of you guys for all the ideas and information that we've gotten today, and for all the support and friendship over the last few months. I tell you what, this has been a journey, and I'm personally grateful that I got to meet each of you through your work here. And anyone who is looking for a coach, I don't think you could ask for any better than either one of these two. So
bless you all.
Yes.
I think a lot of us kind of in the LinkedIn journey have kind of make the friendships, and it does go a little beyond just kind of comments and posts, and I like that. That's what I like about technology. I'm not all against technology. It has its uses. I love it for this. I love being able to jump on and see you guys, talk to people, meet people. Technology is wonderful, but if you want to learn and develop and grow, pick up a pen.
Pick up a pen. I absolutely agree. I have to do mine. My favorite tool is
your journals. I love your journals.
It's a dotted grid. I have to have a dotted grid notebook so that I can just go crazy, but also have lines.
Yes. You can have whatever you want with a dot grid.
Yeah. Yeah.
Go diagonal, you go all over the place. I love it. It's great for flow diagrams, actually, in a workplace. When you're learning a new process, I love a dot grid to see if it makes sense to me, and two, if it's efficient. Because on a dot grid, I can see exactly, oh, why are we doing that? You don't need to do that. Skip that step.
Fantastic. Final thoughts, Amanda?
Yeah, I just wanted to point out that your bullet journal is a beautiful example of how individual our journals can be, and that there is no reason to make our journals look like someone else's, right? This is something we do for us. And so we don't ever need to get caught up in, oh my gosh, I'm doing my journal wrong. Right. So if we are clear of what we want our journal to do for us, and we journal in ways that will help us get there, it doesn't matter what it looks like. It doesn't matter how neat our handwriting is. It doesn't matter how pristine our spelling is, or how straight our margins, or how many colors we use, or whatever rules we have made up in our head that journaling should be. Journaling can be for you whatever you need it to be. And I think that is the biggest gift journaling can give us, is the gift of being able to bring us all of those good things in our own way.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. I think we will end there. I will talk to you two soon, I'm sure. Good luck with all of the house stuff, Sam. And Amanda, I can't wait to see your launch at the first of the year. I'll be watching that closely.
Yeah.
Very cool. And we'll talk soon.
Excellent. Bye, everybody.
See you soon.